My wife of 9 years cheated on me and got pregnant from AP, so I divorced her after doing this. Updates at the end. Disclaimer, what would you do? Have you been in a situation like this? I don't even know what I'm looking for in posting this, but Reddit is a place I go to find nuggets of great advice, so I'm looking for that on this post. Just some human-to-human honesty. It's a long one. A movie at this point. I, male 31, have been together with my wife, female 34, for 9 years, married for 4. We have 2 children already, 7 years and 11 years. I adopted her oldest around 4 years ago as well, but raised and was a part of his life since he was 1.5 years. All the puke, crap, stepping in Legos, riding bikes, that's my boy essentially. Last year, January, my wife started a part-time job, serving at night, and started going out with their coworkers at the local bars in their houses 1 to 3 times a week after work, sometimes for an hour or 2 after closing time, sometimes until 3 a.m. She also had another part-time job during the day for 4 to 5 hours. I worked a 50-hour work. We get a remote work from home job. Since my job was much more flexible, I took the kids to and from school, helped put the homework and class projects. I carried most of the slack on their sports or doctor's appointments as I had more flexibility, but we both shared these 2 tasks. I also worked on my side business at night after bedtimes that I built from the ground up. I'm proud of it, and it's definitely my passion and dream. During late spring, early summer, my wife started working more at the night serving job and less at the part-time day job, which meant she was also frequenting the bars and going out with her coworkers more. I voiced my concern quite a bit, but always was met with, "But kids were already asleep. I'm just going out with my coworkers." I would bring up activities we could do, games, painting, hanging out, things you would want to do with your wife. It was more convenient to just hang with the people she was already with. As for a few months towards the end of the summer, more late nights, new friends I've never met, schedule changes. My wife comes to me with, "Hey, I'm developing a school goal crushed with one of my coworkers. I feel silly about it. There's nothing to worry about. I just wanted to let you know and make you aware. We can call the coworker Fred. Now feeling secure in my marriage, love of my life for 8 years, mother of my children, been through a third of my life with her, know her so much." I say something along the lines of, "Thank you for coming to me. The honesty is appreciated. You work with the guy. We are married. We've been together for 8 years. I trust you in our relationship, and it would make sense that eventually someone would get a feeling like this. We are only human. Like that's pretty dumb, but no biggie. Thanks for the honesty." I approached it with compassion, probably a chunk of naivety at this point. I told her that it was dumb, but it's all okay and I trust her. "You're just coworkers," and even joked and said, "Go get coffee with the guy. You work with him a lot anyway." Maybe she would see the schoolgirl crush as dumb and shake it off. Say to herself, "What am I doing? My husband is my man," sort of thing. Boy, was I wrong. Fast forward a month or so. Same going out to the bars, behaviors. I'm dropping off and picking up the kids. I'm cooking dinners, doing bedtimes alone. I get let go for my day job, and it was a unique job that allowed me freedom to take care of the kids, take time off, and it paid fairly well for my profession. I decided to put more effort into my business and went full-time into it. I was making about the same money at my side business as my old day job at this point, even more by double some months too. I was ecstatic, but working hard day and night and staying focused to keep the bills paid. Everything has been split 60 to 40, me paying a bit more in most of our relationship. We were 20 years old having kids. I wasn't in a position to pay for a family of 4 off of 1 or 2 jobs with my skill set. She very desperately wanted me to pay for everything, so she could stay home, and still does. It was really hard to make enough for her to stay home in this economy and our skill sets. I can only work 2 jobs realistically. One month, she was going to visit her friend on the West Coast for a week. Everything was normal and seemed fine, and when she came back from the trip we went to a concert, and I felt something was a little off because I saw she was texting one of her old exes again. She hasn't talked to this guy for years, and it was becoming this constant thing I was noticing. I confronted her about it, and she said she had met him on the West Coast trip and passing at a concert her and her friends went, so they reconnected and started talking again. At this point, I was definitely concerned and was questioning how this trip really went. I never went through her phone our entire relationship, but I had a chance to one day, and I had this gut feeling. I looked through her phone and found out she cheated on me with one of her girlfriend's friend. Some dude she just met for a day or two and slept with him. I see texts back and forth from him and her that were talking about what they did and how great it was and not a care in the world, and she was loving the praise and attention from the sky. I also find a text thread with her planning a hotel night with Fred. That same week she came back from the trip. If not one hookup was enough, she wanted two. A ruse that she was going to give me about being at her girlfriend's house party too drunk to drive home, so she had to stay the night. There was also more text between other dudes about wanting to hang out or meet up her drinks, etc. Sure, let's make a date. I'll check if my babysitter is free. Apparently I'm the babysitter. At this point I felt struck. I mean hit with a train, spikes thrown up my body, dragged through hot lava, absolutely enraged. I couldn't process it. I was in utter disbelief. If you're wondering, our sex life was dang amazing in the beginning. We were an amazing pair sexually, but the last 3 years of the relationship it was fairly dead. I would have to beg for sex and would be lucky to get 1 to 2 times a month. I'm married to Grow with a matching sex drive to me, which is fairly high, but hers decreased a bunch after a kid too. And I was the only one initiating and trying to be sexy and show that I wanted her in that way. When I saw her next, I confronted her. She seemed shocked. I found out and was pissed. I went through her phone. Later found out there was more I missed too on Snapchat. She didn't cry right away or act how I would expect. She didn't throw herself at me crying. She was just looking and sad and shocked. It took a few days for me to really see her breakdown and see that she probably effed up the marriage forever. I tried to sort through all the pain, hurt, betrayal, confusion, point of origin, hatred, love, death. You name it. It was a rocky feeling weeks mentally. The depression was starting to kick in, but that's my wife. And in the end, I tried my absolute best to see the good in her and just try to make it work for the sake of our kids, the home, the marriage. I tried to be the better man. I told her, don't stay at your friends, let's try and work this out. I hate you because of the betrayal, but I love you because everything else we've been through. We even slept in the same bed that night too. Is this trauma bond? The next part happens within a few weeks. From when I found out in July to August, all hell broke loose. I will take some blame here on this next section because my mental psyche was completely compromised and I was not operating as a functional human mentally. At this point I was broken, or at least that's how it feels. We decided to do an open relationship test run. Stupid move. It was a shiny new thing that sounded good on paper. We made rules, an agreement, and she went on a date with Fred. I tried to be mostly supportive and open to the initial idea. Who knows my work out for both of us at this point? She comes home and tells me about the night. It was a simple date with him, her, and a group of friends. But I realized right there I'm never going to have time to chase another girl and raise kids and build my business. I was blinded by the idea, but it made no sense in hindsight. But it would work great for her and her schedule. At this point, I'm drowning for something to make sense. I'm flopping around like a fish trying to breathe and figure everything out. One night, I asked her to hang with me besides watch TV. Something to the effect of helping me do a menial task that would take an hour or so. No, she wasn't into it and would rather watch TV. I snapped. I said sure, whatever. I felt the care and love disappear. I felt the depression and numbness overcome me. I felt like when Anna can turn into Darth Vader. I felt vengeful. I felt hatred. I felt the poison of revenge just totally engulfed me. I felt depressed. I felt like I wasted my life away for someone. Adopted her son. Worked 2 jobs. How could she do something like this to me? I worked 2 jobs for 5 years and tried my best to provide as a young father of 2. I gave everything, my all. I bled for this family day in and day out and adopted her son. I signed papers to always be responsible for another man's child and to love him forever. But the poison just hit me. How can she do that to me, and how can I handle this? Life didn't seem real anymore. I hopped on Tinder and found the easiest girl and planned a date, a possible hookup if things went okay. I skipped a chunk of the rules agreement of the open relationship. I wasn't honest in what I was doing or my intentions were the night. I meet the Tinder girl at a bar and hit it off a bit. But at this point, I could care less about looks or the conversations of anything. I was just filled by this numbness and worthlessness to feel what my wife did to me. Feel how easy she could do it to me. I was numb. I let go. We went to a secluded place and hooked up. Wife had my location on and brought the kids out at 2 a.m. to catch me up in the act. Who brings their kids out at 2 a.m. into unknown situations? Absolutely insanity. She hit me multiple times and tried to beat me. She threw who knows what from her trunk at my head and choked me pretty good a few times. I didn't touch her or fight back. I was dazed and in shock. My wife makes me drive the girl I met back to her car with my kids and my wife in the back seat. Nice move. I was traumatized to the kids, right? She makes me sleep in a hotel for a few nights. Those while I crap all over the house, threatens to destroy all my business gear. Screams, punches, throws everything at me. In my head, I'm thinking, man, what the EFF was I thinking to do something like that? But I also realized, when she cheated on me, I was pissed but calm and reasonable. We slept in the same bed the night I confronted her. I yelled a bit, but didn't make her leave the house. I didn't take all her crap and throw it around. She was showing me that she couldn't handle the same thing that she just dealt to me, and she was being so cruel and evil to me. I get back in the house, and it's days of violence. Me trying to keep the peace and explaining that I'm feeling broken, depressed, and hurt. That she would do that to me, and the way that she responded when I did the same thing back. No, what I did was worse. I should have been the better man and not cheated back. Even though we were open, it was my fault that I'm the slime of the earth. All things she kept saying to me. She may seem like the scummy villain, a terrible excuse for a husband and awful human for cheating back on her. All the while, we only got to this place because she cheated on me. She didn't want to see that. She made me into this shell of a man, and all of this was happening so fast. What was the rush? Why did all of this fall apart so fast? There was something else that was affecting this rushy open relationship. A few days after this, my wife finds out she's pregnant. We were now in tornado panic mode. Everything is spinning in our world. We find out that she is pregnant. With the doctor's visit shortly after this, we find out it lines up perfectly to her week trip out west. It was a dude she met and screwed out there. I knew this because we didn't have sex that week before or after her trip. It's not an excuse for her behavior, but the pregnancy hormones could have been why she was so intense when she caught me. Even when we were technically in an open relationship, I just skipped some rules. Hell, she broke the entire marriage vow when she cheated. Even so, she bounced the idea of keeping this guy's baby, and I specifically said to her, "It's your body, you need to make this decision. I don't want to sway you in any way. That is your body, not mine." I made this clear many times. One day, she asked me what I would do if she kept the man's baby, and I responded honestly, "I don't know if I can handle raising another man's baby that you cheated on me with." After a week, she decided to get an abortion. Even at the clinic, I said, "Do you want to go home? You don't have to do this, and it's your body. Seriously, this is an important thing, we can just go home." Yes, she asked me to drive her to the clinic. She was going to have Fred drive her. She almost instantly regretted the decision a day or so later. She wanted to keep that man's baby, and she made me feel like I forced her to choose to abort. August through December were the worst months of my life. Worse than watching my mother slowly die of stage 4 cancer. It was a terrible time. Constant fights and trauma, and her throwing my stuff outside and begging me to leave, but then telling me to fight for her. Going back and forth on what she wanted. She would get physical with me and punch me in the face some days. Men can't report domestic violence that shows weakness. She would take the kids away for weekends or weeks. She even tried to take them from me on Christmas Eve. She did, but brought them back at night. Utter pain and chaos. Then came the ultimatum. She regretted not keeping the baby and said, "I'm not willing to work on a relationship unless you give me a baby." She wouldn't even entertain the idea of fixing the marriage first unless she was pregnant first. I'm not insane, am I? That's not normal, right? We're not well-off people. Lower middle class at best. Always one full-time job and a part-time job or two for me. And a part-time or two for her. We can make it each month but have no savings or retirement, etc. I know after all of this, having another child is financially the stupidest thing we could do. And then on top of all this pain and betrayal, the last thing I wanted is to have a child with a woman who cheated on me. It sounds so selfish and one-sided. Our kids we have now deserve as much care and attention we can give them with the little resources we have. I can't work 90 hours a week and be okay. I know I don't have the mental, emotional, financial, and temporal bandwidth for another child. but I know she wants another to fill the void she has from losing the other. But I feel like that's not my fault or obligation to give her another kid just because she cheated and had one with another dude and she decided to abort. And she feels the need to have another. I don't feel like that should fall on me. That's not right to put the entire marriage on a selfish one after all of this. It's been 6 months since that happened, and we are more amicable and somewhat peaceful when conversing now. Both hurt, still in pain, but living under the same roof. I want to be there for my kids every day. That's my number one now. It used to be my wife, the kids, and myself last. But now it's the kids, myself, and my wife last. I want to be there every day for them like I've been the past 10 years. I adopted her son as my own, and she wants to take them away for an at-best situation in a 50-50 split custody. I love these kids so much, and I know they would be broken without dad there growing up. Sure, 50% is better than nothing, but it's tough. Am I crazy for still tossing the idea of just giving in to what my wife wants? Am I insane for still wanting this marriage to work? I think about it and sometimes feel like a weak man who just wants these kids. I want peace, not more headaches, but another baby sounds so intense right now. But we're definitely at the defining fork in the road. There is no more straight path. The decision has to be made. Give her a child and save the marriage for my children. Working even more hours to stay afloat, knowing I'm doing it all for my kids, and a wife who cheated on me and I cheated back? Do I just give in and give her a little dream of a baby to keep my family? Or walk away with my peace knowing that I tried my best to make it work? But knowing life will be 10,000% harder raising 2 kids in separate households. I'll still have to work double hours or find some magic job that can afford 2 kids and a single dad in this economy. I don't have much of a friend network or any family here. I'd pretty much be on my own. I don't know Reddit. I'm just a 1 in a billion human being just like you, going through a different experience. I thought I'd share this. Any advice, clarity, perspective, story is appreciated. I have a gut feeling of what I should do and choose myself and my happiness. Peace. It's just tough. Update 1. Take everyone who read this. Sorry it was so long and painful. Yes, it's real life for me. I'm not looking for any glorification here. I'm just trying to work through this all. So here is an update clarification on a few things. I know the choice I need to make. It took me a long, dang time to come to my senses and understand I'm worth more than this pain. I know human deserves this. I can take a lot because my childhood revolved around a narcissistic mother, and I was her scapegoat kid. My dad was the only thing keeping me from going off the deep end as a kid and a teenager. So I always respected the absolute BS my mother put us all through. He stayed for us and in hindsight might not have been the best, but he thought he was doing the best for us. I see that I have extremely similar morals as him and thought I needed to stay strong, never give up, to stay and be the shield for my kids. But no more. It's tough because I have other factors here that are keeping me from just getting a lawyer and moving out. To be clear, after I got let go from my day job and my side business held me over, and was even better some months than my normal 95 until I got her cheating. The job requires immense creativity, and my brain couldn't process creativity after going through all this. I still pushed out some great work, but slowly was doing less because of my mental health was a crap show. I picked up a part-time job in November doing stupid menial crap in the same sector of work and having been doing my business on the side when I can muster up the creative juice. I don't have any savings or means to just hire a lawyer instantly. It would take me several months to do that currently and a lot of long nights while staying vigilant through any more turbulence with the wife. I also have no means to last month's security deposit for an apartment or place to stay while all of this goes down. I don't have any family in this state, and my friends are honestly 2 or 3 people I've hung out with a few times. I know life did for 5 years to build the business and work full-time for the family, so a true support circle really doesn't exist. Lastly, my business is run out of my entire garage. It requires a lot of space and equipment, electricity and water. And if I get an apartment, somehow I will lose that source of income until I could get enough to afford an apartment and a small workspace or warehouse, which perpetuates this no money to take action issue. Update 2. With all of the courage you gave me in this realization, I've been a dang doormat for all of this and blindsided by my own idea of a man never giving up. I told her flat out I wanted a divorce. I took my ring off and told her that she effed all of this up and she cannot treat me or anyone else like this, and if she thinks using and abusing a human like this after they adopted her son, then she is insane. The baby extortion, the making me feel worthless, how my cheating was worse and unforgivable, but she can cheat and get pregnant while I bust my butt for the kids. I told her to F this, I'm done. I did some immediate gray rock in 180, like some of you suggested. Awesome, by the way. And she perked up like a confused chipmunk. I saw the wheels turning in her brain in real time. She knew I was serious and she broke the F down. I mean, on the floor, uncontrollably crying. It took her all of this BS and time to realize my worth. It took me a while too, except this time I'm viewing her actions as the third-person view. Since I'm so removed and accepting of the decision I need to make, no more distractions. She has been saying she'll do anything I want. She's trying to do sexual favors, turned down by the way, and give me my favorite candies or things, and trying to plan dates and crap, saying she wants everything to work now and she wasn't ready for those 6 months while she was effing me up emotionally, mentally, and physically, but now she's ready to put in the work. I looked at her in disgust and just felt I was watching the situation like a third person. It was quite an eye-opening thing. I felt this flame in my chest and I stuck to my guns, and now she is scrambling for my attention and trying to love bomb me into that old effing moron who let her step all over me. Over and over again. But no, not this time. It's weird seeing her go from cruel and abusive to trying so hard to fix this now. That's it for now. I guess I'm going to keep the gray rock 180 up and just tuck away money as best I can. Sell it any unnecessary things I have laying around here to get some cash. I will keep you posted so the full story will get an ending. Who knows, maybe I'll write a book. Now let's get some feedback from the community. First up, I don't understand why people hate themselves so much. Why does your wife have to do this for you to divorce her? F the whole city or stab you. Yes, my friend, have another child with your wife and stay married forever. I haven't seen someone with such low self-respect for a long time. I think I will be more careful now when judging women who forgive their husbands who have been cheating on them for 10 years. Next up, in part, you're right. It's incredible the number of people in this forum who allow themselves to be humiliated and disrespected in this way. But it's also worth mentioning that many of the betrayed partners suffer from mental health issues such as depression, codependency, childhood traumas, etc. I mean, it's easy to tell others that they're doormats and lack self-love, but we should also feel at least a little empathy for these poor people. In this case, it didn't seem to me that Opie was willing to stay in this marriage out of love for his wife and children, but also because of the economic crisis he could face after a divorce and having to pay child support. In the end, it will always be the betrayed who must weigh each of the consequences, both legal, economic, family, and emotional, of leaving the relationship. But you'll never see a cheater worry about any of that. Next thought. I'm trying to be respectful, so my apologies if this is harsher than intended. Did you reread what you wrote above? Because I'm struggling to find where in there you wrote anything that would indicate that your marriage was not burnt to ashes a long time ago. What marriage would you save? The one that was essentially gone when you created a bad, open marriage, the one where she got pregnant cheating and blamed you for the consequences. A part of saving this marriage is bringing yet another child into the pot of chaos. Crazy? I think you know what you need to do. One more reaction. This is, by far, one of the toughest stories I've seen on this forum. Now, getting to the point, it's clear that your wife doesn't love you, never did, and probably never will. You are just the unlucky one she used to give her child a father and live without working. In cases like these, I recommend the following. So you get a lawyer who can give you a legal perspective on your situation and see how you can, at least, avoid paying spousal support. Secondly, go to therapy, because the level of codependency you have towards this woman is not normal. Stop working on so many extra hours and send your lazy wife to work. At least that way, she earns the bread her unfaithful mouth consumes. Find a hobby or go to the gym. Believe me, it will help you stay distracted and not dwell on how disastrous your situation is. Seek support from close family and friends with whom you can discuss this. It may sound a bit harsh and unsympathetic, but the truth is, in cases like these, it's best to give others a reality check and show them real options for their problems. I sincerely hope it helps you. The OP replies, reality check absolutely warranted and needed. It's just majorly heavy for me. But thank you.